Have you ever wondered what secrets lie beneath the restless waves, hidden in the depths where sunlight barely reaches? Imagine a world where entire civilizations thrived not on continents, but on the shifting tides of the world's oceans, navigating by stars, currents, and the whispers of the wind. These were the seafarers of antiquity, masters of the waves, builders of cities that defied the limits of their time, yet ultimately vanished, swallowed by the very waters they commanded. Today we begin a journey into the forgotten history of the ancient maritime civilizations that disappeared beneath the waves, from the daring Phoenicians to legendary underwater cities whose existence still sparks curiosity and debate among historians and archaeologists. Long before modern maps and GPS, the Phoenicians stood as unrivaled pioneers of the seas. Born along the eastern shores of the Mediterranean, in what is now Lebanon, Syria, and northern Israel, they were not kings or conquerors of vast empires, but merchants and navigators whose influence spread across the known world. Their ships were sleek, sturdy, and capable of braving the open Mediterranean, laden with cedarwood, purple dyes, glass beads, and spices that ignited the imagination of empires. Phoenicians were among the first to chart the stars for navigation, creating a sophisticated network of trade routes that stretched from the Levant to the distant shores of North Africa, Sicily, and even the fabled coasts of Iberia. It is said that the Phoenicians could read the sea like a living map, sensing shifts in currents and storms, predicting the mood of the ocean as a shepherd reads his flock. Yet, while history remembers them for their trade and the creation of the alphabet, lesser known are the tales whispered among coastal communities. Stories of cities lost beneath sudden tides, of entire ports swallowed overnight by mysterious tempests, leaving behind only fragments of walls, coins, and ceramics scattered across the seabed. Could these be the remnants of early experiments in constructing settlements too close to the mercurial sea, or were they deliberately abandoned in the face of changing climates and rising waters? As Phoenician sailors ventured further west, the Atlantic beckoned with its unknown mysteries. Legends speak of Gator, known today as Cadiz in southern Spain, as one of the oldest continuously inhabited cities in Europe. The Phoenicians brought with them not just goods, but the knowledge of shipbuilding, astronomy, and the practical art of survival in an unpredictable world. They traded for tin in Cornwall, ivory in Africa, and perhaps even glimpsed islands long lost to memory, swept away by the inexorable forces of the ocean. Some researchers have theorized that these voyages could have brought the Phoenicians into contact with remnants of even older, submerged cultures, early maritime peoples whose cities, now hidden beneath layers of silt and water, whispered secrets of advanced engineering and artistry that rivaled anything seen on land. Beneath these legends lies the tantalizing possibility that the world's oceans conceal entire civilizations, lost not to war or famine, but to nature itself. Geological evidence suggests that sea levels have fluctuated dramatically over the last 10,000 years, swallowing low-lying settlements and reshaping coastlines. Places like the shallow continental shelves of the North Sea, the Mediterranean, and the Caribbean may have hosted thriving communities that vanished as ice melted and oceans rose. Could this explain myths like Atlantis, the sunken city described by Plato with such vivid detail that some historians wonder if it was inspired by memories of real maritime cultures lost to the tides? The very idea of underwater cities fascinates us not only because of their mystery, but because they challenge our understanding of human ingenuity. Imagine architects and engineers building structures that could withstand waves, tides, and storms, inventing early forms of waterproofing, breakwaters, and canals. Recent discoveries off the coasts of Japan, India, and the Mediterranean have revealed stone formations, roads, and structures eerily reminiscent of urban planning, submerged thousands of years ago. Could these be the remnants of coastal settlements abandoned due to rising seas? Or perhaps the foundations of a network of maritime civilizations whose stories were gradually erased from human memory, leaving only myths and scattered artifacts to hint at their existence. The Phoenicians were not alone in their mastery of the oceans. Across the Indian Ocean, the people of the Indus Valley, although primarily known for their riverine cities like Mohenjo-daro and Harappa, may have experimented with early seafaring, trading with Mesopotamia and beyond. Maritime trade required sophisticated knowledge of tides, monsoons, and navigation. Across the Pacific, too, early Polynesian navigators perfected the art of long-distance ocean travel, discovering islands scattered across thousands of miles of open water. These seafarers understood the rhythms of the sea, reading clouds, birds, and waves to reach lands that would remain isolated for centuries. But as we uncover the remnants of these maritime civilizations, one truth becomes apparent. The ocean is both cradle and grave. It enabled these cultures to flourish, connecting distant lands and fostering trade, art, and innovation. But it also claimed them. Submerged settlements, shipwrecks, and artifacts remind us that human ambition often meets the relentless power of nature. Every sunken city, every lost port, every shattered hull tells a story of courage, exploration, and ultimately loss. And now, as we stand at the edge of these ancient waters, the question remains: what secrets have the oceans preserved, hidden from our eyes for millennia? How many stories of brilliant civilizations waiting to be discovered still lie buried beneath the waves, whispering their truths only to those willing to listen? The tale of the Phoenicians is only the beginning. Beyond the Mediterranean, beyond the myths of Atlantis, the ocean hides other mysteries, cities of stone, commerce, and culture that vanished without a trace. In the next chapter, we will dive deeper into these submerged worlds, exploring legendary sites, archaeological discoveries, and the incredible stories of civilizations that embrace the sea as their home, only to be consumed by it. As the Phoenicians carved their legacy along the Mediterranean, whispers of sunken cities grew louder, carried by sailors, storytellers, and later, chroniclers of the ancient world. But the Mediterranean was just one theater of maritime ingenuity. The oceans themselves were the stage for civilizations that dared to build their lives directly on the edge of the unknown. Among these, the Minoans of Crete shine as a remarkable example. Flourishing around 2000 BCE, the Minoans were not merely island dwellers. They were pioneers of maritime architecture, trade, and cultural sophistication, whose influence stretched across the Aegean Sea and into the distant shores of Egypt and the Levant. The Minoans constructed grand palaces such as Knossos with advanced plumbing, storage systems, and frescoed halls, but their most impressive achievements lay along the coastlines and harbors. These people understood that mastery over the sea meant both opportunity and peril. Archaeologists have uncovered evidence of harbor towns with complex docks and warehouses, yet sudden destruction struck some of these settlements. Around 1600 BCE, the island of Thera, modern-day Santorini, erupted catastrophically, sending tsunamis across the Aegean. The waves devastated Minoan ports, inundated coastal towns, and may have inspired later legends of cities swallowed by the sea. The catastrophe underscores a timeless truth. Even the most advanced maritime civilizations were at the mercy of nature's immense, unpredictable forces. While the Mediterranean holds documented evidence of these lost maritime cultures, other regions present tantalizing, less understood mysteries. Off the coast of India, near the Gulf of Kumbat, sonar scans have revealed submerged stone structures, streets, and artifacts, some dating back over 9,000 years. If verified, this could indicate an early civilization with advanced urban planning and a sophisticated understanding of maritime trade long before the rise of the Indus Valley civilization. Similarly, the Yonaguni Monument off the coast of Japan sparks heated debate. Massive underwater terraces, steps, and walls hint at human construction, yet the debate continues over whether these are natural formations or remnants of an ancient civilization consumed by rising seas following the last ice age. These discoveries suggest that humanity's story with the oceans is far older and far more mysterious than previously imagined. The ocean itself may have been the lifeblood of innovation for these ancient peoples. By venturing across open water, They exchanged not only goods but knowledge, astronomy, navigation techniques, metallurgy, and cultural practices. The Phoenicians, Minoans, and other maritime civilizations likely influenced each other in ways that modern historians are only beginning to understand. Consider the legendary Ulubran shipwreck, discovered off the coast of Turkey, dating to the 14th century BCE. Its cargo, a mix of copper, tin, ivory, glass, and luxury goods from the eastern Mediterranean, Africa, and possibly as far as Central Europe, demonstrates the vast scope of these ancient trade networks. Each artifact tells a story of daring voyages, meticulous planning, and intimate knowledge of currents, winds, and coastal geography. But for every thriving port, there were cities lost forever to the sea. Rising sea levels during the Holocene epoch transformed coastlines, drowning low-lying settlements across the globe. In the Mediterranean, the North African coast saw communities abandoned or submerged as waters encroached, reshaping trade routes and forcing populations inland. Across the Atlantic, myths of Atlantis may echo memories of islands that vanished under rising tides. Plato's story describes a powerful civilization swallowed in a single day and night, and while many dismiss it as allegory, some scholars speculate that it could reflect the destruction of Bronze Age maritime cultures or early island communities in the Aegean or the Caribbean. Even the Atlantic Ocean carries tales of submerged civilizations. Off the coast of Cuba, sonar surveys reveal structures lying beneath the waves, resembling streets, terraces, and pyramidal formations. While scientific debate continues regarding their origin, these formations fuel speculation about early civilizations capable of oceanic exploration far beyond what mainstream history has documented. Could there have been communities thriving on islands now lost beneath storm-driven tides, constructing cities with engineering skills sophisticated enough to rival land-based cultures? And if so, what knowledge, art, and stories were forever silenced by the sea? Yet the ocean is not only a destroyer, it is also a preserver. Cold, low-light depths have protected artifacts, shipwrecks, and architecture that would have decayed on land. Bronze Age anchors, ceramic vessels, and even wooden hulls have survived millennia underwater, providing clues about the technology, trade, and daily lives of maritime peoples. Each discovery feels like a message in a bottle sent across time. A civilization once alive, ambitious, and daring, leaving behind fragments that speak of human ingenuity and curiosity. Perhaps the most fascinating aspect of these civilizations is their understanding of risk. Building so close to the ocean required careful observation of tides, storms, and currents. Cities had to be flexible, able to survive sudden floods or relocate if coastlines changed. In this sense, the very act of living by the sea shaped culture, politics, and technology. Maritime civilizations learned resilience not from isolation but from constant engagement with a world in motion, an eternal dialogue with the vast, unpredictable waters around them. As we continue this journey, the question becomes more pressing. How much of human history has been lost to the ocean's depths? How many civilizations vanished before writing could record their achievements, leaving only whispered myths, submerged ruins, and scattered artifacts for us to piece together? The Phoenicians, Minoans, and early maritime traders were only the beginning. Beyond the Mediterranean, across the Indian Ocean and into the Pacific, there are hints of civilizations so intimately tied to the sea that their disappearance seems almost poetic, an ultimate testament to the power and danger of oceans. In the next chapter, we will explore the mysterious ruins off distant shores, dive into the legends of underwater cities preserved in myths across continents, and uncover stories of daring oceanic voyages that may have linked civilizations across thousands of miles long before the advent of modern navigation. Prepare to see how the oceans both nurtured human ingenuity and erased entire chapters of history, leaving us with questions that still defy answers. As we leave the Mediterranean behind, the story of lost maritime civilizations stretches into the wider world, where oceans hide secrets far older and stranger than the Phoenicians or Minoans. Across the Indian Ocean, early sailors navigated vast distances between the Arabian Peninsula, India, and the islands of Southeast Asia, carrying not only trade goods but also knowledge, language, and culture. They understood the monsoon winds, reading their patterns to sail hundreds of miles without sight of land. It is here, in these tropical waters, that myths of submerged cities persist, whispered along coasts for thousands of years. Fishermen speak of cities beneath the waves, of stone walls and towers glimpsed just below the surface when the sea is unusually calm. Archaeologists are only beginning to explore these claims, but sonar scans and underwater excavations hint at the possibility that entire settlements once thrived in areas now inundated. One of the most fascinating examples comes from the Indian subcontinent, where the Gulf of Khumbat has revealed an astonishing underwater landscape. Sonar imaging shows streets, foundations, and possibly harbors dating back more than 9,000 years. If confirmed, these structures predate the Indus Valley civilization, suggesting that humans may have built sophisticated coastal cities far earlier than we ever imagined. This raises an irresistible question: what technologies and maritime skills did these early people possess, and how much of their knowledge was lost when rising seas swallowed their homes? These ruins challenge everything we thought we knew about early seafaring civilizations. Meanwhile, in the Pacific, the Polynesians offer another remarkable example of human ingenuity and the intimate relationship between culture and the ocean. Long before European explorers ventured into the vast Pacific, Polynesians crossed thousands of miles of open water, discovering and settling islands scattered across the ocean. Their double-hulled canoes were marvels of engineering, stable enough to carry families, crops, and livestock across open seas. Navigators memorized stars, ocean swells, cloud formations, and bird flight patterns, creating an oral map of the Pacific that allowed them to connect islands thousands of miles apart. Though few physical ruins remain, their oral histories speak of islands lost to the waves, of coastal villages abandoned when tides rose or storms destroyed their homes. Back in the Atlantic, legends of Atlantis continue to capture the imagination. Plato's account describes an advanced civilization with harbors, canals, and immense wealth, destroyed in a single cataclysmic event. While many historians dismiss it as myth, some suggest that Atlantis may have been inspired by real places, Bronze Age settlements along the Mediterranean or Aegean coastlines lost to rising seas, or perhaps islands in the Atlantic that have since vanished. Submerged structures off the coasts of Cuba and the Canary Islands tantalize researchers with their unnatural formations, hinting that the Atlantic too may hide remnants of civilizations erased by time and tide. Each discovery fuels speculation. Could humans have achieved mastery over the oceans long before modern history records it, only for nature to reclaim their creations? Even Europe hides its own underwater mysteries. Along the coasts of the North Sea, archaeologists have discovered traces of ancient settlements, now lying tens of meters below the surface. The so-called Doggerland once connected Britain to mainland Europe, a fertile landscape of rivers, forests, and villages. As sea levels rose at the end of the last ice age, these lands were gradually submerged, taking human settlements with them. Artifacts recovered from the seabed, stone tools, remains of dwellings, and even entire landscapes offer glimpses of life in these now lost regions. The sea has preserved what the land could not, turning ancient human activity into an enigmatic underwater museum. What all these cases share is a reminder of the power and danger of living close to the water. Maritime civilizations flourished because the sea offered trade, food, and mobility, but it also carried the seeds of destruction. Storms, tsunamis, earthquakes, and rising sea levels erased cities almost overnight. Yet in every submerged ruin, there is evidence of adaptation and resilience. Anchors, docks, fortified harbors, and seawalls show that these peoples understood the risk and sought to control it, at least partially. Their relationship with the ocean was one of respect and ingenuity, a delicate balance between harnessing its power and surviving its fury. Artifacts recovered from underwater sites are not just remnants. They are narratives in stone, metal, and clay. Bronze tools, ceramics, jewelry, and shipwrecks tell stories of trade networks spanning continents, of daily lives shaped by tides and currents, of civilizations that reach far beyond what contemporary history has recorded. Consider the Ulubran shipwreck, a single vessel revealing an entire web of commerce, diplomacy, and craftsmanship across the eastern Mediterranean. Similar discoveries in the Indian Ocean and Pacific hint at networks that may have been even broader, stretching across continents long before the rise of empires like Rome, Persia, or China. And yet, despite centuries of exploration and thousands of dives into the ocean's depths, most of these stories remain incomplete. Rising tides, shifting currents, and centuries of sedimentation conceal far more than they reveal. The oceans preserve but also obscure, keeping their greatest secrets just out of reach. For every artifact recovered, countless more remain buried under layers of sand, coral, and rock, waiting for discovery or forever lost. As we prepare to dive even deeper, the next chapter will take us into the heart of these submerged cities, exploring not only their structures but the culture, religion, and daily lives of the people who lived there. We will examine how human ingenuity, bravery, and imagination met the overwhelming power of the ocean, and we will ask whether some of these civilizations may have left a legacy that survives not on land, but beneath the waves, hidden for millennia. The story of humanity's seafaring past is far from complete, and the ocean still has chapters left to reveal. As we venture further into the story of lost maritime civilizations, the line between history and legend begins to blur. Across the world, stories of underwater cities have captured imaginations for centuries. Some are steeped in myth, like Plato's Atlantis, while others are tantalizingly real, revealed through sonar imaging, underwater archaeology, and ancient coastal records. These submerged cities offer glimpses into civilizations that thrived in perfect harmony with the ocean, until nature reclaimed them. Consider the sunken city off the coast of Dwarka, India. Dwarka, described in ancient Hindu texts, is said to have been a magnificent city of palaces, temples, and fortifications, built on the shorelines of the Arabian Sea. In the 1980s, marine archaeologists discovered ruins submerged beneath the sea, including walls, stone foundations, and evidence of harbors, dating back several thousand years. The scale of the structures suggests a society highly advanced in maritime construction, capable of building durable cities resilient against tidal forces. Could this be the inspiration behind legends of a civilization swallowed by the ocean? The underwater ruins of Dwarka hint at a remarkable human ability to conquer and adapt to watery environments, only to be undone by nature's slow but relentless rise of the seas. In Japan, the Yonaguni Monument off the coast of Okinawa presents another enigma. Here, massive terraces, steps, and walls lie submerged beneath the waves, their sheer scale suggesting intentional construction rather than natural formation. Some scholars argue that Yonaguni may have been a ceremonial or administrative center of a prehistoric civilization, lost when sea levels rose at the end of the last ice age. Divers report rectangular blocks, roads, and terraces that resemble urban planning seen in contemporary land-based settlements. While the debate continues, the monument reinforces the idea that humans were experimenting with maritime construction long before history documented it, and that rising waters erased entire chapters of human ingenuity. Even the Caribbean holds stories of submerged cities. Off the coast of Cuba, sonar surveys have revealed structures resembling streets, plazas, and pyramidal buildings, all lying under 600 to 750 meters of water. These formations, whether naturally occurring or man-made, fuel speculation about lost civilizations with advanced oceanic knowledge. Some researchers propose that islands now submerged once supported thriving communities that engaged in maritime trade across the Caribbean and possibly into the Atlantic. These discoveries suggest that the Americas may have had sophisticated maritime cultures long before European colonization, their legacies erased beneath waves and sediment. The Mediterranean, however, remains the richest source of evidence for maritime mastery. Sunken ports along the coasts of Sicily, Greece, and Turkey testify to civilizations that thrived on trade and seafaring expertise. The Uluburun shipwreck, dating to the 14th century BCE, contained cargo from multiple civilizations: copper and tin from Anatolia, ivory from Africa, glass from Egypt, and luxury goods from across the Levant. Each artifact tells a story of connections that spanned hundreds, even thousands of miles, revealing a world of exchange far more interconnected than commonly assumed. The wreck demonstrates that maritime civilizations were not isolated. They were part of a vast, interwoven network of trade and culture, one that relied on careful navigation and oceanic knowledge. But these cities were vulnerable. Rising sea levels, tsunamis, and sudden storms destroyed entire communities, sometimes leaving no trace on land. The Aegean eruption of Thera wiped out parts of the Minoan world. The rising waters of Doggerland erased a swath of Europe's prehistoric settlements. The Indian Ocean swallowed coastal cities now hidden beneath kilometers of water. In each case, the ocean preserved fragments, but it also erased whole civilizations from the visible historical record. Only through painstaking archaeology and underwater exploration can we begin to reconstruct their stories. Some of the most compelling underwater discoveries are not just remnants of urban life, but entire maritime infrastructure systems. Submerged harbors, breakwaters, and canals show that these civilizations understood tides, wave energy, and coastal erosion. They built with foresight, engineering solutions that allowed ports to withstand daily wear from the ocean, even as they ultimately succumbed to catastrophic events. The ruins hint at societies with sophisticated knowledge of hydrodynamics and construction techniques, rivaling anything achieved on land at the same time. The idea of cities beneath the waves resonates because it combines human ingenuity with the raw power of nature. These civilizations embraced the sea as both a lifeline and a threat, building cities that were centers of commerce, culture, and innovation. They sailed vast distances, traded rare commodities, and created art and architecture that reflected their maritime environment. Yet, despite their accomplishments, the sea eventually reclaimed them, leaving us with fragments, myths, and tantalizing glimpses of worlds that once existed. As we move toward the final chapter, we will explore the lessons these lost civilizations offer us today. How did they interact with their environment? What can their stories teach us about resilience, adaptation, and the human desire to conquer nature? And perhaps most intriguingly, what mysteries remain hidden beneath the ocean's surface, waiting for the next generation of explorers to uncover the secrets of humanity's seafaring past? The story of civilizations lost beneath the waves is not just about history. It is about humanity's enduring relationship with the ocean, a relationship that continues to shape our world even today. As we reach the final chapter of our journey, the ocean stretches endlessly before us, a vast archive of human ambition, creativity, and ultimately loss. The civilizations we have explored, the Phoenicians, the Minoans, the ancient settlements of the Indian Ocean, Polynesian navigators, and the mysterious underwater ruins of Dvarka, Yonaguni, and the Caribbean, all share a singular lesson. Humanity has always been drawn to the sea, enticed by its promise of exploration, trade, and knowledge, yet humbled by its immense power. The allure of the ocean is timeless. For early mariners, it offered routes to distant lands, access to exotic goods, and connections between cultures separated by hundreds or thousands of miles. For civilizations built on its shores, it provided food, resources, and a stage for innovation. They built cities with stone and timber, anchored harbors against waves, and mastered navigation by stars, currents, and winds. They understood the rhythms of tides and storms, and yet, despite this intimate knowledge, the ocean remained unpredictable. an eternal reminder of nature's dominance over human ambition. Submerged cities teach us about resilience and ingenuity. The Phoenicians mapped seas before maps existed, trading across continents and leaving traces of their culture through writing, art, and architecture. The Minoans created coastal palaces and harbors with advanced infrastructure, evidence of careful planning to survive the elements. In India, Dwarka's ruins hint at maritime construction that survived centuries beneath the waves. In Japan, the Yonaguni Monument challenges our understanding of prehistoric architecture, perhaps revealing a society capable of manipulating its environment in ways we are only beginning to grasp. Even the Caribbean ruins hint at unknown civilizations that traversed vast oceans, leaving behind cities now hidden under kilometers of water. Yet with every rise of the tide, civilizations were reminded of their fragility. Doggerland vanished beneath the North Sea, taking prehistoric European communities with it. The eruption of Thera reshaped the Aegean, submerging towns and influencing myths that survive to this day. Across continents, floods, storms, and slow encroachment of seas erased entire settlements, leaving us with tantalizing fragments that archaeologists and historians must painstakingly piece together. These are the voices of the past, speaking through stone, ceramics, anchors, and submerged streets. There is also a profound mystery in what has not been discovered. For every Dwarka or Yonaguni, there may be countless other cities lying hidden under sediment, coral, or miles of water. The ocean conceals more than it reveals, and its depths may hold evidence of civilizations that predate known history, or even societies that shaped global trade and culture long before recorded time. Every sonar image, dive, or artifact is a key to unlocking these lost chapters, yet the majority remain untouched, guarded by the waves and time itself. The myths of Atlantis, the sunken cities in the Caribbean, the tales of Polynesian islands lost to storms, they all share a common theme. The ocean is both creator and destroyer. It nurtures human ambition, providing pathways, resources, and inspiration. It tests resilience, erasing settlements and challenging the limits of engineering and foresight. And it preserves, protecting artifacts and structures that can teach us about the ingenuity of people who lived thousands of years ago. In these submerged civilizations, we see the duality of the sea, its generosity and its mercilessness, its beauty and its danger. Ultimately, the story of civilizations lost beneath the waves is not merely about the past. It is a reflection of our ongoing relationship with the ocean. Today, rising seas, climate change, and coastal erosion remind us that humanity's connection to the water remains as vital and precarious as it was millennia ago. We continue to explore, to build, to dream along coastlines and islands, yet the lessons of the Phoenicians, Minoans, and other maritime societies echo through time. Respect the power of the ocean, harness its potential, but never underestimate it. As we imagine these sunken cities, it is impossible not to feel awe. Picture the bustling harbors, the markets brimming with exotic goods, the ships setting sail under the guidance of the stars, the temples and palaces adorned with frescoes and carvings, all now silent beneath the waves. These are civilizations that dared to live in partnership with the ocean, and though the sea claimed them, it also immortalized them in the mystery that continues to captivate us. Every submerged ruin is a reminder that history is not confined to the land. It flows beneath the waves, waiting for those bold enough to explore it. So next time you gaze out at the horizon, remember, the ocean is more than water and waves. It is a memory keeper, a library of human endeavor, and a graveyard of lost civilizations. Beneath its surface lie stories of triumph and tragedy, of exploration and ambition, of peoples who lived, thrived, and vanished without leaving a footprint on land. Yet their legacy endures, whispered in the tides, preserved in artifacts, and waiting for the curious mind to uncover the truths of seafaring civilizations that disappeared beneath the waves. In the end, the ocean reminds us of our place in the world. Fragile, persistent, and endlessly fascinated by the mysteries it holds. And as we continue to explore, dive, and study the watery depths, perhaps one day we will fully reveal the cities, the cultures, and the lives that once flourished beneath the waves, giving voice to the civilizations that dared to dance with the sea and in doing so, etched their stories into the very heart of the oceans themselves.